Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I'm going to start up this program in an unusual manner. Right now, President Putin is talking to the United States and Britain, live from Russia. Let's join him right now.
To those attacks. As a result, the targets and objectives set by the enemy were not achieved. The fire and the ammunition storage in the Bryansk region, as a result of fragments of ATACMS missiles falling, has been contained. No victims. In the Kursk region, one of the command and control centers of our several group was attacked. As a result of the attack and the countermeasures, there have been people wounded and killed, and those who were involved in servicing these facilities, those who were members of the command have not been hit by the attack and are now continuing their operation to remove the enemy from the Kursk region. I repeat, the use of such weapons cannot change the course of the special military operation. Our military is successfully advancing along the entire line of contact, and all the objectives that we set before ourselves will be met. As a response to the use of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military-industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate-range Russian missile system. A ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used. The test was carried out successfully. The objectives of the launch have been met. One of the largest and well-known industrial centers that is known since the Soviet times in the Dnipro region, which is known and to be involved in enemy production, was hit. And further plans are being made in Europe and the Asia-Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles, and we believe it is a mistake on the part of the United States to destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and have successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world. And their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them. The further course of action will be determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries who allow their weapons to be used against ours. And in case of an escalation, we will act as decisively in a mirror fashion. The ruling elites of the countries are nurturing plans to use their military contingents against Russia should be warned. When choosing measures to be used in response, such as the use of systems that was attested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted, and we will certainly do this in a transparent fashion. And we do not have any fears that it will reduce the effectiveness of those systems, because there is no way to counteract a missile that flies at 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. Existing anti-missile systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles. It is impossible. So, once again, it is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred, and we still prefer, to resolve our disagreements using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response around the world, as well as those who still nurture illusions that a strategic defeat can be inflicted against Russia, about events that are happening in the Special Military Operations Zone. I'm talking about what happened in the wake of long-range Western weapons being used in the Special Military Operations Zone. As a result of the escalation, the United States and their NATO allies said that they give their permission to use long-range weapons against targets inside Russia. Experts know fully well, and the Russian side has underscored this time and again, that using such weapons without the direct involvement of military operators from manufacturing countries is impossible. On November the 19th, 6 ATACMS missiles manufactured in the US were used, and on the 21st, a combined attack using Storm Shadow manufactured in the UK and missiles manufactured.
Yes, this is on a loop, and I'm going to continue to play this until he finishes it, and then we will not allow this to continue on the loop. I want you to understand what is going on here.
Times. The regional conflict in Ukraine, provoked by the West, acquired a global character. Our anti-missile systems countered those attacks. As a result, the targets and objectives set by the enemy were not achieved. The fire and the ammunition storage in the Bryansk region, as a result of fragments of ATACMS missiles falling, has been contained. No victims. In the Kursk region, one of the command and control centers of our severed group was attacked. As a result of the attack and the countermeasures, there have been people wounded and killed, and those who were involved in servicing these facilities, but those who were members of the command have not been hit by the attack and are now continuing their operation to remove the enemy from the Kursk region. I repeat, the use of such weapons cannot change the course of the special military operation. Our military is successfully advancing along the entire line of contact, and all the objectives that we set before ourselves will be met. As a response to the use of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military-industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate-range Russian missile system, a ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used. The test was carried out successfully. The objectives of the launch have been met. One of the largest and well-known industrial centers that is known since the Soviet times in the Dnipro region, which is known to be involved in enemy production, was hit. And further plans are being made in Europe and the Asia Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles. And we believe it is a mistake on the part of the United States to destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and have successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world. And their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them. The further course of action will be determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries who allow their weapons to be used against ours. And in case of an escalation, we will act as decisively in a mirrored fashion. The ruling elites of the countries are nurturing plans to use their military contingents against Russia should be warned. When choosing measures to be used in response, such as the use of systems that was tested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted. And we will certainly do this in a transparent fashion. And we do not have any fears that it will reduce the effectiveness of those systems, because there is no way to counteract a missile that flies at 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. Existing anti-missile systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles. It is impossible. So, once again, it is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred, and we still prefer, to resolve our disagreements using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response around the world, as well as those who still nurture illusions that a strategic defeat can be inflicted against Russia, about events that are happening in the Special Military Operations Zone. I'm talking about what happened in the wake of long-range Western weapons being used in the Special Military Operations Zone.
Okay, he's talking about what has happened in Ukraine. It's obvious. Now, what are we going to do about it? What are you and I going to do about it? We know dadgum well what has happened here. We know what's happened. What are you and I going to do? Okay? What are we going to do? I would ask you all right now, what are you going to do? Kathy Behrman says pray and prep. Prepare and pray. That's a good start. What else can we do? What else can we do? Rebecca says pray. Yes, absolutely. But what else? Between preparation and praying, what else do we need to do? Rebecca's now saying call your senators and governors. Not the governors necessarily. Call your senators and congressmen. Even call the White House. Call the White House. Call the White House. Talk to Biden's people. Talk to someone in the Biden administration and tell them to tell Biden or whoever is running this war here in the United States to stop. To stop. Again, the government switchboard. For those of you who are in the chat, Don Patoka just put up the government switchboard number. 202 224 3121. 202 224 3121. 202 224 3121. Okay? Don, thanks for putting that up here. Everybody needs to see this. You need to call the White House and tell Biden to turn this off. Why did he do it? Can anybody tell me why Biden did what he did earlier this week? Telling Zelensky to fire those weapons. Not just the United States weapons, but British long-range missiles as well. Why did Biden do it? Why did Biden do it? We've talked about it on this show during this week. Why did Biden launch those missiles? Did Biden have permission from the British government to have Zelensky launch the British missiles? I say he did not. He did not. Sign-Digger says, move out of the United States, they will be made desolate. Read Revelations 18:4. I'm sorry, Sign-Digger, that's not an option. That's not an option. The United States will not be made desolate. Okay? Biden did this. Now, I don't believe that Russia will launch a major missile, nuclear or otherwise, against the entire country. If he launches anything, it will be a localized missile where he will launch a missile that will hit some part of the United States, whether it be Hawaii, Alaska, or mainland United States. But he will not launch an entire missile barrage intended for the entire country. He wants to set an example. Putin wants to set an example. Okay? Now, why did Biden do it? Because Biden lost the election. The Democratic Communist government here in the United States lost the election. There has been some talk about Biden wanting to start World War III. That way he remains in power and not President Trump. Putin, just the other day, 2 days ago, said that he would not negotiate with the Biden administration. He would only negotiate with President Trump. Now, there was word sent out, whether it's from Russia or from the news media, and you know what I think of the mainstream media, that Putin did not send that message out, that he would only negotiate with President Trump. I don't believe that. Because Putin has great respect for President Trump. He knows that Biden is a nobody. He knows that Biden can't do squat. And right now, Biden can't do any more politically. Biden is basically powerless except when Biden launches missiles towards Russia. And I don't believe it's Biden doing it. I believe it's the deep state that is launching the missiles. I believe that the deep state is, in effect, in control. Okay? I believe the deep state is the one that launched those missiles. I do not think that the Biden himself did it. I was going to say his administration. His administration did do it. Biden is an ineffective president. Biden has been a very ineffective president for 3 years at least. Okay? Now, Becky says they do not want USA to exist anymore. I don't believe that's necessarily the case. Russia wants to take over the world. Putin is power hungry. Right now, Putin's in a bad way physically, and I believe he may also be mentally to a certain extent. Putin started attacking Ukraine 1,000 days ago, 3 years ago. I don't believe he would have done it if Trump had been president, and President Trump has said that. Putin did that so he could try to bring those separatists, those countries that pulled away from Russia a long time ago, back under Russians' influence. Okay? Meaning Poland, Ukraine, the state of Georgia, and other entities that left mainland Russia. He wanted to bring them in before he died. He wanted to have that as his legacy. So far, he hasn't done that. He said he was going to attack Poland. He hasn't done that yet either. Okay? Yes, Biden is ineffectual right now as a person. Putin knows that. I personally do not think that this country will attack Russia again. I believe Trump has also had some words to say. I think Trump is more in charge than anyone would want to give thought to. I think Trump is more in charge than anybody wants to think about. Trump is the most effectual leader at this point in time. And I don't think that Putin would have done this unless he just wanted to warn the United States. Okay? Inauguration is January 20th. What does that mean? Today is the 21st of November. We still have nearly 70 days until the inauguration of President Trump. Biden and his administration, meaning all of the Democrat senators and congressmen, are doing whatever they can to stop President Trump from taking office and to stop President Trump's people from assuming office as well. Meaning all those people that Trump has appointed to cabinet positions. Even though Biden himself said last week that he was going to allow his administration to transition over to President Trump peacefully. Do I believe it? No, I don't. No, I don't. Biden is a very egotistical gentleman, number one. Even though he's mentally incapable of making any real decisions, Biden is a very egotistical individual. But more so than that, Obama is a puppet master. Obama, Soros, and the other elites of the world, they're the ones that are trying to maintain complete control over this country. We're talking about the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization. They want to have control over this country. And if they allow President Trump to take over, they're going to lose control, and they know it. They know it, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, for you and I, our families, and everybody that we know, we need to tell everybody within our sphere of influence to contact the White House, to call the White House switchboard, and tell President Trump, tell President Biden to call World War III off. Do not launch any more missiles. Don't try to piss Putin off. We need to also call our senators and congressmen and tell them the same thing. Again, the D.C. switchboard, the Washington, D.C. switchboard. The number is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Yes, it is Friday. For all intents and purposes, most of the senators and congressmen, and even Biden himself, have probably left the White House. However, their aides will answer the phone. If not, you can leave a message. Our senators and congressmen lines will fill up. Their voicemail will go full. The more and more people they have telling them, do not let Biden launch another missile. Turn World War III off. And Biden as well. Stop horsing around with Russia. Stop it. We do not authorize you to do this. You need to stop it. You need to stop it immediately. The more people that get that message, the more likely we're going to be effectual in communicating with Washington. Okay? Sign Digger, I'm going to remove your message. Yes, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. This is not the time to quote Revelations at this point in time. Okay? Most of us know what Armageddon is. Most of us know what Revelation says. Okay? I'm trying to give you information that you need to know. Okay? We can do it. If all of us start hanging together, share this program's information worldwide. Worldwide. With your circle of friends, relatives, and people. If everybody does that, the message will get out, and we will become very effective. We will become very effective. Now, I don't think Putin necessarily is going to launch another missile. He might. He might. Just to flex his muscles. Just to put his own being in the forefront. I think between now and Sunday is a time to watch what Putin does. Is he going to turn off the war himself right now and wait to see what happens? Is he going to do that? Or is Biden going to let him do it? Is Biden going to stoke the fire? It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. But are you and I going to do what we need to do to save our country? To save our lives? I'm asking you all. Each and every one of us. And that goes for those of you that are watching this program or hearing this program in Canada. We need to tell our representatives to stop it, and to stop it right now. I don't believe it's just Biden doing this. I think the entire Democrat Communist Party of America is behind this. Okay? Don Patoka is one of my dearest friends and is also a moderator on this program. He said something very profound, and I want all of us to do this. Is a bad moon rising? Are you truly prepared for life's adventures? May I suggest that some folks need to smell the aroma of reality. Take action before reality rears its ugly head. Be organized. Be prepared. Be prepared. Kathy Berryman says, so many people are not even aware. I'm going to take a poll at work tomorrow. Do that, Kathy. And please let me know what you find, what you hear. Okay? And I can pass it on to everybody else. Because it might be very worthwhile to know what everybody is thinking. Very good idea. Very good idea. I might post a simple poll of myself, just to get an idea of who here on YouTube is even being allowed to see it. And I'm also going to put it on Facebook as well, for everybody to see. I'm going to put it on MeWe as well. I'll put it on Telegram as well, just to see what people are thinking. And then I'll report back to you. Folks, I believe that there are a lot of people that aren't even paying attention. That's what I believe. I believe a lot of people are not even paying attention. They don't know what Biden did. They don't even know what Biden did. Whether it's because they were not paying attention to the mainstream media, or whether they don't care. I believe there are a lot of people that don't care. I have my own family members that don't care. They don't realize what's going on. That's why they don't care. Okay? Rebecca Vogt says she Ubered today, and everyone she talked to did not know what's going on. That's pretty simple. That's pretty simple. Sign-digger, this is not a time right now to put up religious information on this chat. Everybody knows what's going to happen, what needs to happen in the scriptures. Everybody knows that. Most people have had it preached down their throats since they were children. Heaven knows I've covered it on our Sunday school class on Sunday. This is not Sunday school class. This is not Sunday school class. We're talking real world here. We're talking real world. Now, some people might say, yes, we need to be called to repentance. I agree. But everybody knows that. I will talk again about it on Sunday. But right now, we need to shut this war down. We need to get this message out to as many people who will listen. And I'm going to do my own work to make that happen. I need your help in passing this on to the world. To the world, guys. And I'm very, very serious about that. I couldn't be more serious. Oleg Spector says, hi everyone, I was born in Ukraine and speak Russian and Ukrainian. He says not to worry. It will be okay. I tend to think the same thing, but I also know the ego of Putin. I've seen him work out, and I'm not saying physically pushing iron or anything else. I've been watching Putin's antics for years. I've been watching. I've been putting two and two together. I know what happens. We need to tell him to turn it off. As Lamazalite has said here in the chat, it is a time to worry. It is a time to be concerned. Someone earlier in the chat, and I won't say who they are, but they said they're scared. I don't think this is necessarily a time to be scared. This is the time to take action. This is a time to be serious and take action. A lot of us sat on our laurels thinking, oh, nothing's going to happen. Most people are sitting on their butts doing nothing because they don't think anything's going to happen. We need to get our acts together, guys. We cannot just sit back and think nothing's going to happen. We need to get our acts together and move forward. Take action, guys. Take action. The scriptures teach us that faith without works is dead. To sit back and do nothing is faith. Oh, nothing's going to happen. The Lord's going to take care of it. There's one thing to have faith, but there's another to not do anything. To not do anything. Because we have people in the power centers of government that think the same thing. That none of us even know what's going on. Or if we know what's going on, we don't care. We need to turn that off. We need to turn that thinking off. We do care. We do care. Okay? I'm just telling you. We do care. And we need to be very proactive in our actions. And this is absolutely paramount. This is absolutely paramount. Now, yes, we need to pray for peace. We need to promote peace. Okay? Like I said, we need to call Washington, D.C. and tell our senators, our congressmen, and yes, even Biden, to turn this war off. The telephone number again is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. And I'm going to repeat that throughout this program tonight. I want you to take action. I want your friends, your family, your extended family. I want your neighbors. I want your social media contacts and also the people you work with to take action. And we need to be forthright in saying it. Not forceful, threatening anybody. I don't want you to do that. But I want you to emanate concern. Because Putin doesn't care. Putin is an egomaniac at this point. We also have an egomaniac in the first seat of government. And he's an elderly egomaniac. But the puppet master is even more of an egomaniac. And so is Soros and the other elite financiers of the war against the United States and our sovereignty and our peace. And we need to turn them off permanently. Permanently. And electing and inaugurating President Donald J. Trump is one of the answers here. One of the answers. Heidi Pedrick says, I tried that, I was hung up on. I'm going to say, keep trying. Yes, the lines are probably busy. The lines are probably busy. Keep trying. Okay? Okay? We need to keep this message in the forefront. Okay? Heidi Pedrick says their answering machine said they're not taking calls. Oh, isn't that just convenient? Keep trying. Keep trying off and on. If that answering machine continues, wait till Monday and call them back on Monday and get this message to our government officials. They cannot be allowed to continue putting millions of people's lives in danger because idiots' egos. Okay? Yes, Russia needs to be taught a lesson. Russia needs to be taught a lesson. However, right now, Russia is in the driver's seat. Biden is pushed to bear, launch missiles, and even though Russia says we haven't killed anybody, we hit a barracks where the Korean soldiers were staying. They can say that we didn't kill anybody in launching the 6 U.S. missiles or the other shadow missiles. Okay? We need to continue. We need to continue. Russia's been a coward. Diane Cummins says she tried calling Chuck Schumer and left a message. Guys, we all need to do this. We all need to do that. Yes, leave a message with idiot Chuck Schumer. And even those of you who are Kentuckians, and call Mr. McConnell. If you guys call Mr. McConnell, he's as worthless as anything. But call him and tell him, we do not want any more missiles fired. And tell him to tell Biden and Obama, stop firing the missiles. Period. Yes, that's exactly our message to them. Stop doing this and turn this war off. Okay? That needs to be our message. Turn this war off. Don Patok and several others of you have talked about Putin being in the KGB. Yes, he was. That's what makes him more dangerous. This is why he's more dangerous than anything. He was in the KGB. The KGB is Russian secret police. Heidi Petrick, thank you for gifting 5 EMA messages or message memberships to people in our chat. Kenito Warrior was gifted a 1-month membership here. I Am Planet Hermit was gifted a 1-month membership. Times and Signs, Lisa Kerbo, and John was gifted a 1-month membership. Those of you that were gifted a membership, thank Heidi for it. Okay? Heidi, thank you very much for doing that and helping promote our channel. Folks, we need to stand up for what we believe in. Demon Cat, Stukas saying, Demon Catman, ask Lindsey Graham. He will tell you the truth. Demon Catman is in the east of England. He sees what's going on in England. Yes, Lindsey Graham is a good man to contact. Okay? I also think of Mr. Paul, Senator Paul. He's another good person to contact. Contact Senator Lee of Utah. Contact our buddy Ted here in North Carolina. He just got elected as senator representative to North Carolina. I believe he's a good man as well. Contact your senators, contact your congressman, and if you're able to, get through the White House. If not, leave a message when you can. Okay? Leave a message if you can. If any of you are getting buffered very bad or in the very least, try leaving the channel and coming back. That usually stops the problems with YouTube. I have a very good signal here. I have really great bandwidth thanks to all of you who keep giving us super chats and sending donations to our PayPal. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate those of you who have in the past sent us donations in the mail as well. I love each and every one of you. I just noticed that our information scroll was off, so I just turned it back on. Those of you that want to send us a card and letter and include a donation, our address is 104 North Green Street, Box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code is 28655. I've got it scrolling across the bottom of the screen so you'll see that. Also, our Gmail address is there as well, where you can contact us. Yes, I am the Sir Ron. Or Sir Ron of Tyler, yeah. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll accept that all day long. Laura Marie says, hello from stormy Oregon. Oregon and Washington are still getting pounded by that huge, for lack of any better words, a huge hurricane bomb. Okay? Because the winds were as strong as a hurricane. Incredible. Damon Cameron, yes, Lindsey Graham is a senator. And he's a very, very powerful man. South Carolina senator. He's a good man. Okay? Those of you that may have seen Tim here, I can't find him here in the chat. Tim Bellwood is a good friend of ours. I haven't seen him here in the chat for a while. Tim, if you're here, thank you for being here. We appreciate you here. NCWQ says she put Tim in a timeout. Becky, was that Tim Bellwood? I don't know whether that was Tim Bellwood or not. Canadian Patriot One says we ought to call the strongest ones hurricanes. I agree. Because that bomb storm or bomb hurricane, whatever you want to call it, was bad. Wind as high as hurricane strength, 65, 75 miles an hour. Over 500,000 people, 600-some thousand people lost power. Incredible. Oh, Tim Gibson. Okay, thanks, Becky. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But that huge storm is playing havoc with the people in the Pacific Northwest and even some people in Northern California. A lot of snow, a lot of wind. Rivetta Volk says she had a dream that Mount Jefferson collapsed and lava came out. Makes her wonder, I never dreamed I live in Central Oregon. I hope that never happens. I don't think wind can knock off the top of a volcano, whether it be Jefferson or not. I don't think it's possible. Honestly, I just don't think it's possible. Gosh, at least I hope not. Do any of you have any questions I can answer for you tonight? Is there anything preparedness-wise that you want to hear tonight? I can talk about literally anything. I've compiled messages I've compiled preparedness talks. I've compiled information to write a book. And then, yes, I'm going to write a book at some point in time here. Canadian Patriot says this bomb hurricane is going to pass throughout the entire country. I agree. It's going to be bad. Silver Mink says they have new buds on their flowering trees in Nova Scotia. That might not be such a good thing. That means temperatures have gone up there where buds can flower. Not a good thing. Richard Smith put his snow tires on his car today. That's probably a good thing as well. Crazy it is as it is. Okay? I've seen what happens. I've seen what has happened in the past. I wouldn't want to be in those areas. Right now, Washington State has 131,216 people still without power. 131,216 people are still without power in Washington State. Oregon had 230 people without, or 230 houses without power. Right now in New York, there is a power outage in New York. 51,208 people are without power in New York. Incredible. Incredible. At one point during the last 2 days, over 600,000 people were without power in Washington State. Aaron Smith is asking in the chat what frequency range I'm usually on VHF. VHF, I'm usually on 142, what is it? Just a second. Usually I'm in the 142 frequencies here. Occasionally I talk with the police here on 155. Renee Steffi's here in the chat, and she's been looking at what's been going on with the volcanic eruption in Iceland. The parking lot of the Blue Lagoon is covered in lava. I told you all last night what was going on in Iceland. Darn it. And I had everything ready to go here, and I had pictures to show you guys over in Iceland. Give me a second here. Give me just a second and I'll pull up those pictures again and give those pictures to you guys. The outside parking lot, okay? I told all of you that there was a defense wall built by the Icelandic people. The defense wall was built around the Blue Lagoon, the power plant in Svartsengi, and all the way around the city of Grindavik. So far, the defense wall has held. So far, the defense wall has held. But the outer parking lot of the Blue Lagoon, which was outside the defense wall, has been covered in lava. The outside defense wall is covered in lava. Just a second, I'm trying to pull up the information I put out to all of you guys. I've got pictures to show you. If you guys just give me another minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Rob52 is here in the chat, and he's talking about heavy rain in Northern California. The rain in Northern California is pretty typical given what they're seeing there. Okay? Given the storm that's hit the Pacific Northwest and is extended down to Northern California, that's kind of typical. Okay? Now, will it get worse? I doubt it. The storm is going to continue for at least another couple days. Then there will be a little bit different change in weather. Okay? Lemons Light is talking about Hurricane Helene and what happened to her in Asheville, North Carolina. I totally get it. I totally get what you're talking about. Now, Lemons Light said the most distressing problem with the Hurricane Helene disaster here in North Carolina was communications. Again, I want to thank someone else, Elon Musk. Elon Musk put up Starlink satellite systems all over the mountains of North Carolina. President Trump visited North Carolina, and he was told by citizens and also the police, sheriff's offices, and fire departments that they had no communications. And they asked President Trump if he could call or do anything about Starlink. He told the people he didn't know anything about Starlink at the beginning, but he called Elon Musk about it. Elon Musk had already put Starlink down in North Carolina and continued. And now I believe the mountains of North Carolina have Starlink all over the place. And most of the communications have been restored by now. Starlink satellite communication systems offer communications via telephone, sat phone, and also radio and telephone communications. Now, something else that you might not know. Catherine Sigerson is asking about Grindavik. I'll talk about Grindavik in a minute. But Starlink put up those systems via satellite, and it worked. It worked. North Carolina had communications within a short time. That should have fixed it even now. If there's still some communications issues, hopefully that will be solved very quickly. Hopefully. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you some pictures here. As you can see the defense wall around Greenvik. Or not Greenvik, I'm sorry, the defense wall around the Blue Lagoon. The water here is the hot water coming from the volcano that everybody sits in or swims in order to receive the health effects of the special volcanic water. Okay? Now, this defense wall that the Icelandic people have built, it's protected the Blue Lagoon, Svartsengi power plant, and also the city of Greenvik. Now, the only part of the Blue Lagoon area that so far has been covered with this lava was outside the wall. There was a parking lot, like I showed you last night, outside the wall. It has now been covered in lava. Okay? Out in the distance, you can see a volcanic plume, a lava plume. The lava fissure is still, well, it was when it first erupted, 3 kilometers long. The southern part of the fissure is closing up, meaning we might see the end of this eruptive cycle anyway, coming to an end over the next few days to a week. That remains to be seen. But, see this cloud-like stuff here? That's a power plant. The blackened area here you see is of lava that has reached this wall around Svartsengi. Now let me pull up here to last night's pictures so I can show you the parking lot area. Okay, off in the distance here, let me fix this photograph. Let me fix this slide for you. You can see the parking lot to the Blue Lagoon there. It's outside the wall. Okay? It started getting covered last night. Or I shouldn't say even last night, yesterday afternoon. Yes, it has now been covered. Okay? This is the fissure that we talked about. Okay? And you can see the beginning of the lava river as the lava has gone out of the fissure and continued rolling over the landscape. Okay? Here you can see where the lava has begun to enter the parking lot of the Blue Lagoon. And that building does no longer exist. The lava hit that building and the building started burning, and now it's been covered in lava. Again, this was outside the defense wall at the Blue Lagoon. Now there is good news about Greenvik. The lava has moved west, not east. Okay? The lava has moved west, not east. And this is a little bit different activity than the lava's had during past eruptions. Okay? The lava's moved away from Greenvik. There is no problems at Greenvik at all when it comes to erupting lava. The lava is not going to reach Greenvik or anywhere close to it. And yes, that same kind of wall that you saw around the power plant and around the Blue Lagoon Spa is also around Greenvik. Okay? Now, this is the map of where the upper right-hand side of this slide is where the lava fissure is and the continuing movement of the lava across the landscape. The black and gray area is the previous eruption, where the lava reached out in the previous eruption. The blue areas here on the left-hand side of this map are the Blue Lagoon Spa. At the very bottom of it is Greenvik, the western side of Greenvik. As you can see, the lava is not anywhere close to Greenvik. Okay? Yes, because the lava is over at the Blue Lagoon Spa. There might be wind changes. Why would the wind changes have anything to do with this? Because if you paid attention to anything we've talked about when it comes to lava movement, lava carries with it gas, sulfur dioxide gas, and carbon dioxide gas. Sulfur dioxide smells like rotten eggs. Carbon dioxide gas is an odorless, tasteless gas. But the lava carries these two deadly gases with it. And if you get too close to the lava, you start inhaling this gas, and it can damage your lungs. It can completely rid your lungs of oxygen, in which case you're going to die. In which case you're going to die. I saw a report out of Iceland earlier today. The reporter was just outside that lava area near the Blue Lagoon. He was on the highway there. Let me pull up the image of the highway here where you see what I'm talking about. Right here. This is the highway. These are the tourists near the edge of the highway. And you can see the lava on the side of the highway here. Well, the lava's gone over the roadway. Completely over the roadway. The lava has cut off the highway from the Blue Lagoon, Greenvik, up to Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland. It stopped. After this lava starts to cool down, I understand the people of Iceland, the workers here, will take their bulldozers and heavy machinery and remove lava from the roadway again. And they will repair the roadway and open it up again. When this eruption first started happening, they evacuated Greenvik as a precaution. Yes, there are people that stayed behind in Greenvik, but there are no problems in Greenvik at all. Yes, there was a easterly road outside of Greenvik that people could have used to evacuate Greenvik, and in fact they have used it before. But this roadway here goes up to Reykjavik, the capital. As you can see, the lava closed the roadway. This is where the reporter was this morning when I listened to his report for about 18 minutes. He reported that the lava had closed the roadway and cut off the Blue Lagoon Spa. Again, as I said last night, the lava is very viscous. Lava is very viscous, meaning it's like water. It's not like water necessarily, but it's very runny. It's not like some lava from the previous eruptions, which was very thick. This is not that way. And as a result, the lava has covered a lot of land. A lot of land. And it still might cover more land here. But right now, you can see that great big defense wall over there on the other side of this lava, this wall of lava here. Yes, the lava gets thicker. As the lava gets thicker, There is a possibility that it could reach the top of that wall. There is that possibility. But with that same possibility, it depends on how long this eruption lasts. It also depends on how long this eruption lasts. What do I think? I don't think it's going to last as long as the previous eruptions. As we already been told this morning, the southern part of the eruptive fissure is closing up. The eruptive fissure was 3 kilometers long. One previous eruption was 13 kilometers long. This is not anywhere close to it. I told you last night about the great big huge magma chamber beneath the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon. According to scientists, the magma reservoir had not even gotten full yet, not compared to the previous eruptions here. And yet, we had an eruption up near, what do they call it, Slingerfell and Stora. There's a volcano over there that is just up on the other side of this lava flow, up to the right top of this particular map here. Okay? It's off the map. I can't remember the name of it, Stora something. But anyway, the lava fissure is between that volcano and Slingerfell. It's nothing's happening. Okay? The lava's not going near Slingerfell. It's not even approaching the power plant or Grindavik. Not getting anywhere close. Don Patoka says it was a highway. Yes, it was. It was. Now, I showed you that slide showing you pictures of people standing in the roadway. Authorities are not encouraging anybody to get near this lava flow. Stay away from it. Number one, the lava is very hot. Number two, the toxic gases are not anything that anybody wants to get near. They're telling people to stay away. But because the highway is there, people are still approaching the lava field. Okay? Demon Catman jokingly says the car park is just getting a resurfacing and building up to avoid future flooding. Yeah. If there's anything that the authorities in Iceland have found out, they're going to have to build another wall around that outer parking lot. They're going to have to build another wall around that outer parking lot. And yes, they're going to have to build, resurface that road, take out that lava once it starts cooling, take out that lava, and resurface the highway. They've done this several times before when the lava's covered the roadway. Unreal. It's unreal, guys. I've never seen this happen here in the United States. I hope I don't. I hope I don't. When Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, some of the lava covered roadways over there in Oregon, or Washington, I'm sorry. Some of the lava covered the roadways in Washington. The authorities had to do something then. And I'm sure they're going to do something again here in Iceland, as they had previously done in weeks and months past. Now, when this eruption first started, the authorities were thinking, before it happened, I'm sorry, I should have said before this eruption happened, authorities had originally thought that the eruptive fissure would not happen until late November, early December. The authorities got woken up. It happened before late November. They thought it might also wait until after the first of the year. That did not happen either. Okay? It happened a lot sooner than they thought. Now, I think the people in Iceland got a wake-up call here. They got a huge wake-up call. Can something happen here? It absolutely could. It absolutely could. We've seen volcanoes erupt all over the world. We got a wake-up call in 1980. And again in, I think it was 2003, when Mount St. Helens had a small eruption again. But so far Mount St. Helens has calmed down. Although, it needs to be said that Mount St. Helens could erupt again, and is showing all signs of that very thing. On Monday, I will show you seismograms from over there in the Pacific Northwest, so you can see again what I'm saying. I showed you seismograms last week. Things have calmed down a little bit, but things have gone haywire again, meaning there have been more earthquakes at Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier again. Okay? They calmed down for a time, but now things have gotten just as busy. Okay? That happens. That happens. There is an ebb and flow with all the volcanic activity. There's an ebb and flow. But overall, the eruptive signs are there. The eruptive signs are there. But just like I've said all along for the past 5.5 years, the agencies are not taking responsibility. The agencies don't want to take responsibility. They know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. But for all intents and purposes, they don't care. That's my opinion. For all intents and purposes, the agencies don't give a flying rat's frosty keister. Okay? That's what I've seen. That's what I believe. Okay? They don't care. I don't think they will ever care, guys. I don't think they will ever care. They don't care because the politicians, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it now, the politicians are telling the agencies not to talk about it. Heaven forbid that we know the truth. Heaven forbid the agencies tell us the truth. Okay? Now, what they're figuring, what they're counting on, is us not knowing what's going on. And then when something does happen, well, we didn't think it was necessary. We didn't think you'd care. Nobody's really cared in the past, so why tell you what's going to happen? Okay? But what was really going on with the politicians? Not just the agencies not giving us information. What's going on with the politicians? Why do you think the politicians would not tell us what's happening? Why would the politicians not tell us? Let me take this back to an example that I gave all of you some time ago. Let's do that. Let's go back some time ago when I first started talking about this. The agencies don't care because the politicians don't care. Who pays taxes? Who pays taxes? All of us pay taxes, don't we? We absolutely do. Well, what happens here? What happens here? We pay taxes. But what happens? The politicians come along and say, well, gee whiz, we don't want you to tell people because they will move out away from where things are going to happen. If you tell them what's going on, they'll move away. And as a result of their moving away, I won't get a paycheck. I won't get a paycheck. Interesting idea. A very interesting idea. What happens if they tell us and people move away from a place called Ocean Shores, Washington? What happens then? If people that are living in Ocean Shores, Washington, find out what happened. Well, some of them could walk away, move away and never come back. They could move away and never come back. That is exactly what the politicians are scared of. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. What happens if that happened? Number one, if people moved away, the shops, the stores, places where people do business, restaurants, for example, would close. If people are moving away, how are roads going to be repaired? How are the holes in the roads going to be repaired? How is the light and power going to stay on in the cities and towns and counties? It's not. Why? Because if people are moving out, who's paying the taxes? The people who moved away stopped paying taxes when they moved away. Then something else happens. People move away, the taxes aren't getting paid. The counties and cities cannot pay their people anything. The power lights are going to be shut off. The traffic lights are going to be shut off. The streets can no longer be repaired. The politicians are going to be without work because nobody's paying taxes. So the politicians don't want the agency, the USGS, or the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network to say anything. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid the truth gets out. That's why the agencies aren't telling us anything. Because the managers of the agencies are being told by the politicians, don't say a word. Don't say a word because our jobs are at stake. Our jobs are at stake. That's what's really going on here. That is what is really going on here. Folks, I'm of the belief that until you and I do something about it, you and I call President Trump and tell him that the United States Geological Survey is not doing his job, their job. The scientists are doing theirs. The scientists are absolutely doing theirs. It's not the everyday employees of USBS. It's the managers. Because the politicians are telling the managers not to say anything. They will be publishing more of the earthquakes that are happening here and in the United States and elsewhere. But as I've shown you before, they are not telling us much of anything at all. They're not showing us anything going on because they're being told not to. If the agency was going to tell us anything, they would start doing it now. Almost immediately. But we need to do our own job. We need to make sure that our government is telling us the truth. And right now that's not happening. Right now it's not happening. And it's not going to until President Trump gets in office. And President Trump starts getting the truth told to him about what is really going on. And I'm being very serious now. President Trump needs to know what's going on. Right now, I can tell you this. The people that President Trump is surrounding himself with, his prospective cabinet members, they're all good people. They are all good people. And as a result, it's my feeling that yes, at some point in time, things are going to get very good. But until President Trump gets things up and running, not really so. Biden and his people are going to do their darndest to delay President Trump from taking over. Again, what has happened in Washington. I don't know for a fact some of this stuff that I'm being told. However, the one thing I know is that Biden wants to maintain control of his part of the United States. He wants to maintain his control of the presidency of the United States. And I think more so than ever, Obama wants to have control. Biden is Obama's third term. I believe Obama's behind 90% of this. Okay? But Biden also has an ego, and so does Obama. They're going to do their darndest to maintain control. The part of this that I don't totally believe is that the Constitution, I'm being told that the Constitution provides Biden with power if we are in a world war. I have not found that in the Constitution anywhere. Not in any of the amendments or anything. When I get more information, I'm still studying it. I'm getting more information as I go forward. But if Biden thinks he's going to maintain control, he's not. At some point in time, Trump is going to say no more. And there's going to be a coup. A coup from the Trump administration, which will force the hands of the Democrats to release control of the government. They don't want it. They don't want to do that. Just as McConnell and Chuck Schumer are doing their darndest right now to appoint appeals court judges for life. Yes, there are a bunch of people going before the Senate for confirmation to be appeals court judges for life right now. The Senate is trying to approve as many appeals court judges as they possibly can while Biden's still in power. People like Senator Cruz are Republicans. And I saw such a conversation go down today where Senator Cruz stopped one of the appellate court judges from taking control, from being appointed. The appeals court judge was up to his ears in trouble, up to his ears in crimes himself. One of the judges had also made sure that gangbangers were not prosecuted as well up to the extent of law as they could be. One such gangbanger committed quite a few murders and got a slap on the hand from the judge and sentenced only to 3 years in jail. A slap on the hands. Senator Cruz took that judge apart today. And because the Senate is controlled by Democrats, Senator Cruz and Senator Hawley that were tearing the judges apart were told to shut up. Take your seat, your time is over. Stop talking. They continued talking for quite a while, taking time away from the committee. But these Republicans, conservative senators are trying to point out to the other senators there that these appeals court judges should not be appointed to these positions because these appeal court judges are bad news. Bad news not just for the appeals court, but bad news for this country. Like I said, the Democrat communists are doing their best right now to maintain control until they have to give it up. And yes, the Trump administration may have to make a coup against the Biden administration to force them out. Even though Biden last week told President Trump that he and his administration were going to do their best to make sure there was a complete turnover of government, peaceful turnover. Interesting, because Harris said the same thing, and yet we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing Biden launching missiles from Ukraine or telling Ukraine to launch U.S. and British missiles at Russia, poking the bear, which allows the bear to threaten the United States. That's what's happening. That is why early on in this broadcast, I let you hear what President Putin has said. That's why I said what I said, that all of us and our circle of friends, neighbors, friends, family, social media contacts, and the people you work with need to be told what's going on. And you need to call the White House. You need to call your senators and your congressmen and tell them to turn this war off. That's the only way it's going to stop, is if enough citizens say, no more. No more. Renee Seven's here in the chat saying Ukraine, or the Biden administration has, or even Biden. Let's focus on Biden and his family. They have interest in Ukraine. They absolutely do. I've talked about this before as well. When Biden was a vice president to Obama, he was over in Ukraine. He told the Ukrainian authorities to fire an attorney general in Ukraine. And unless Ukraine fires this man, that they were not going to get another dime from the United States. And the Ukrainian authorities said, how is that possible? You're not the president. You can't tell us that we won't get another dime. And he says, all I have to do is tell Obama not to give you anything. And he won't. Within hours, that attorney general in Ukraine was fired. And Obama got paid. Obama paid Ukraine. Biden got paid. The Biden crime families continue to get paid. Yeah, the crime family. There's been a lot of money directly sent from Ukraine to the Biden family through Hunter Biden, President Biden and one of Biden's nieces. All three of them have been involved in taking money from Ukraine. Hunter had been appointed as an administrator to Burisma, the Ukrainian oil company. Hunter Biden had no experience with oil at all. He had no education in it either. He had no education to be a manager. But he was put as one of the big honchos of Burisma in Ukraine. The Biden crime family has been deeply involved in Ukraine for a long time. Now, I've also found out other information. Ukraine has also been involved in drugs, child trafficking, and bad stuff involving bad chemicals used in wars. Yeah. Manufacturing chemicals to be used in wars. Yeah. Okay? It's called corruption. Sagepup calls the global bank equals corruption. I agree. Charlene Savant says biolabs. That's exactly it. Biolabs in Ukraine. And I believe that the Biden crime family is deeply involved in this. And they know that when Trump takes office, it's all going to stop. All that money that's been going to Ukraine is going to stop. Biden, just this past few days, has now authorized more billions of dollars to go over to Ukraine in the form of military equipment. Unreal. Unreal. That's what's happening. The Biden crime family. And if you heard a news report back before when Biden was the vice president, Hunter was meeting with some people in Ukraine, and they wanted to talk to Vice President Biden. And they called him the big guy. That was his code name, big guy. They were told the big guy wasn't available right then. But later, they spoke with the big guy, Biden. It's all over the internet. You can find out the truth of it. It's there. But Biden has been doing this, and he knows darn well that once Trump takes over, the gig is up. That's one of the other reasons that we need to contact the White House. We need to contact our senators and our representatives in Congress and tell them to shut this thing off right now. If enough of us get on the White House and the Senate and Congress, it'll stop. But not until we put pressure on them. Richard Smith says we need to send Biden to Siberia to shovel snow. That would be great. Anyway, do any of you have any questions for me? I originally told you we were going to talk about preparedness tonight, and we have to a certain extent. We need to get prepared, and we need to get prepared now. Right now. Someone said last night that they were very upset with what was going on in Russia and Ukraine. And they didn't see anything getting better, and they had no hope. Yes, there is hope. There is hope. We need to have faith in the system. I've told you right now what we need to do, and I mean it. We need to keep the heat on. We need to keep the heat on. We need the truth. We need the truth. We need to tell our representatives that we mean business. Okay? Don't let them give us any baloney. Okay? If we keep the heat on our representatives, including Biden, things will stop. If our senators and congressmen get enough heat, they will jump all over Biden. They will jump all over Biden, and he will have to stop. They will jump all over Biden, they will jump all over Obama, and they will jump all over the military-industrial complex. Yeah, the military-industrial complex. Money. This whole thing has to do with change. In Swedish pengar, in Russian rubles, in the United States dollars. This has to do with dollars, money. Okay? It's got to stop. And you and I can make that happen. But not unless all of us, and like I said, all of us, our family, extended family, our neighbors and friends, our social media contacts, and even the people we work with. Everybody needs to do the same thing. If we get everybody doing the same thing, we have power. We have power. And I'm telling you, we do. We have power and we have influence. And we need to make that known right now. Now, while I'm saying this, as I said before on Preparedness Fridays, you need to have a plan. You need to write your emergency plan, folks, and I'm talking immediately. It doesn't necessarily have to mean we're going to have an earthquake tomorrow or the next day, or we're going to be run down by a tornado or a hurricane, or a major explosion is going to happen. Yes, it could. But we need to write a plan for each one of us and our families of how we're going to handle it when the crap hits a fan. What are we going to do? What needs to be done? What do we need to have? You need to have an emergency preparedness kit. You need to have food. You need to have food. Food enough to sustain life for months. For months, not just a week. Not just a two or 3 days. 2 or 3 days went out years ago. I've told this story before, I'm going to say it again. Back in 2014, when I was doing disaster drills around the United States, and I was still a police officer. Back in 2014, FEMA sent out a notice to all of us, a poll, asking us one question. Did each of us have an emergency preparedness kit? Did each and every one of our emergency management team have a preparedness kit? A few weeks later, FEMA published the results of that survey. One question was asked. Do we have an emergency preparedness kit? The answer came back as 25% of emergency managers across the United States had a preparedness kit. 25%, 1/4. And yet, we as emergency managers were tasked with telling everybody within the sphere of our influence to have an emergency preparedness kit. A 72-hour kit. And yet, nothing was being done. Because only 25% of us had a 72-hour kit. I do. I did back then, and I still do. But Carol and I also have an emergency preparedness kit. Not just for 72 hours, but we actually have a preparedness kit and food in our pantry to survive for many months if things went to heck in a handbasket. You need to have a preparedness kit. You need to have a preparedness kit. You need to have a preparedness kit, and that includes medical kit, including 90 days worth of prescription drugs here, right in your home, in case something were to happen. Third, you need to have water. You can't survive for much more than 3 days without water. Water is an absolute necessity. And I've been teaching everybody to make sure you have a supply of water. Water more than just 3 days. Not just 1 gallon per person per day. I've been telling everybody to have at least 3 gallons per person per day. Washing, cleaning, drinking, and preparing food with. 3 gallons of water. Yes, you can use gray water. You can use gray water to water plants with. You can use gray water to flush toilets. But you don't want to drink gray water. Okay? Every time we buy bottled water for our dogs, gallons of water for our dogs and to cook with. We have 4.5 months worth of bottled water for our dogs and to cook with. When we empty one of those gallon jugs, we refill it with tap water and then put it aside. Taking a teaspoon of chlorine and putting that in the bottles to preserve the water. We put it away. So we have many months worth of gray water to cook with, to drink, to wash with, to prepare food with, and to water our garden with. We have plenty of water. I'm asking you all to do the same thing. Rob 52 is talking about water heaters and pools. You may have to treat your pool water. You don't want to drink your pool water right out of the pool. But water infill to the water heater so it doesn't get any water from the main line. Then turn off the fire. That will prevent you from being disabled and not being able to have water in your home. We'll have 50 gallons of water in your water heater. There's also called a bob, a B-O-B, a bag that you can sit in your tub and fill that bag with water from the tap in your tub. 25 to 50 gallons of water there. Hardneck Farm says we're being buffered. Renee Seppi says the stream was cut off. It's been restored. It's been restored. Okay, I saw it go off. I saw it being restored. I have plenty of bandwidth here. For YouTube to say that there's not enough bandwidth and power to put out this program, YouTube is lying through their teeth as they usually do. We make sure our bills are paid. All the money that you donate to our program to help keep this program on the air, we use it religiously. We don't use it absentee and just spend it willy-nilly. We don't do that. We pay our bills. I just got through paying a $254 internet bill this past month. It went up another $4. It went up another $4. Folks, I want to tell you this. We are going to do whatever we can to keep this show on the road, on the air. One, you guys want us to. Two, I feel an obligation to make sure we stay on the air, to make sure we get the message of preparedness out to the public. And that's what we're trying to do. We appreciate all of you here. We appreciate your support, your love and caring. Like I showed you yesterday, S-Nort sent us things from her house, or maybe she's bought for Carol and I. she sent us those packages to us, which we really appreciate. And she sent us a beautiful card that I showed you. We get cards and letters occasionally from you guys. We'd love to see more. We'd love to see more. We used to get 2 or 3 cards a week. Now we just maybe get a couple cards a month. We'd love to see more. We'd love to see more cards and letters from all of you, knowing what you're doing, hearing what you're doing to prepare, and hearing what you're doing with your families. That means the world to us. Okay? We need this, guys. We need this. Don Patoka says, pray, heed the still small voice of the Holy Spirit. Exercise logic over emotion. Plan and prepare. Absolutely. Absolutely. Heidi Petrick just gave us another $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Heidi. We appreciate that. God bless you. God bless you for helping keep this program on the air. And I mean that sincerely. God bless you. God bless all of you to help keep this program on the air. I believe the Lord wants to keep this program on the air. I have every reason to believe that, because the Lord continues to bless us and bless me. Now, in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 15, if any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. So as by fire. We must be wise in Christ, as Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10 says. You're wise in Christ. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable, but we are despised. Paul continues in verse 21. What will ye? Shall I come unto you with a rod, or in love, and in the spirit of meekness? I don't think any of us want Jesus Christ to come to us with a rod. I believe Jesus Christ is about to appear again. I believe we are about to see the second coming of Jesus Christ. Do we want Jesus Christ to come with a rod and smite us? I don't think so. I believe the Lord wants to come here and bless us with love and peace. Now, in the scriptures, the Lord has told us many times, even from the time of Babel, that he will not destroy the world again by water. But it's my thoughts and ideas, judging from what I've seen in the scriptures, that if something happens and we are not worthy, the Lord will destroy us by fire. I believe the Lord wants to bless us. I believe the Lord wants to keep us here, and that he's soon going to be here visiting us again. If we are ready, if we are doing what the Lord wants us to do, we're going to be blessed. I promise you that. I promise you that. As the scriptures have told us, if there's even one person in the city that is worthy, one person in the city that is righteous, the Lord will save the city. He's done that many, many times throughout the years in the scriptures. He will save the world if there is but one righteous person left. The Lord's second coming is imminent. I know that. May God bless you. May God bless you today, tonight, and forever. If anything else happens tonight, We will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Yes, we are monitoring shortwave radio, we're monitoring ham radio, and we're monitoring the social media, keeping an idea on what is going on in Russia and Ukraine, and the rest of the world for that matter. Folks, if anything else happens tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, we'll be coming back on the air immediately as soon as the information becomes available. I'm going to tell you now. Don Patoga's already sent us. I will be back on the air on Sunday about 1 p.m. this Sunday. We're having a Thanksgiving dinner at our church at 12 noon. So Carol and I should be back about 1 p.m. And right after that, I'll be back here on the air with Sunday School, a weekly broadcast of Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. 1 p.m. this Sunday after we get through with our church and our meal at church. I love you, brothers and sisters. I love you. We're going to talk more about Jesus Christ, His second coming, and what is going on. Okay? I love each and every one of you. May God bless you and keep you. And I ask the Lord's blessings to be upon each of your heads. And I ask for that blessing, even in the sacred name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Have a great weekend, guys. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everyone. Much love.